There was a time in around, I want to say 2016, maybe 2017, I think 2016, um, where I would upload to this channel every weekday. Monday to Friday, there'd be one video a day, and then there'd be a weekend, there wouldn't be anything, and then Monday to Friday again. And it went like that for a few weeks, I think over a month. And even when it wasn't that, I think before that it was every 2 days, before that it was every 3 days. And for a long while, I was really consistent with this channel and with YouTube. And the reason for that is because this is all I wanted to do. Like, looking back, when I was, I guess just since when I started YouTube when I was 11, for tons of years, this was my dream job. And over the years, the more I did it, the more I looked into it, the more I wanted to do it, and the more it seemed to me like I could do it, and that, if I just kept making the videos I wanted to make, which at the time I thought were good. After looking back, they were not, because I was a child uploading every day. But I put my all into the videos at the time. I would spend hours on editing, and I remember specifically I had a calendar in my room. I started thinking about this yesterday. I had a calendar in my room, just a normal calendar, on my wardrobe, which you can probably see in some of my older videos. And I remember I would write on each date what I had done related to YouTube. That's all I really used the calendar for. So I would have record Undertale if I did that, and I would have edit this video one day, record this, edit this, record this, and I would just have this thing. And I remember looking back, I had basically every day something was happening, or I had done something to do with YouTube, in terms of whether that was editing a video or recording a video. I was doing it. I remember I stopped doing the weekday uploads because it became a bit much, as you can probably imagine. I was still in high school at the time, and I remember I would come home and I would, pretty sure I would record a video and then have my dinner, and then I would edit whether I recorded the previous day and have it ready and scheduled to go up, I think 10 o'clock in the morning, British time, the next morning. And then I would next day do the same thing over and over. And I stopped because that became pretty much all I was doing. And it became a bit much, especially with like my hard drive. My hardware at the time obviously wasn't the gaming laptop I have now. It was just a regular old laptop. Obviously, the more I started to edit, the more demanding that came on the computer. So I remember I would have to, when I finished editing a video on a timeline of Camtasia, I think, if I tried to render it as just one timeline, it would crash. It would freeze, and it would crash after like 70% or something. So to fix that, I'd have to split it into half, the timeline in half, and group them into 2 groups, sometimes even to 4 groups. Now I'd have to copy and paste that into its own timeline, render that, and then once all the separate groups were rendered, I'd have to put them all together and render them as a video. So that would take hours on its own. And so obviously doing that a lot became a bit much. But I remember for a while, really liked doing the weekly uploads. Like I said, looking back, the quality of the videos are questionable. But I remember at the time, it made me feel like a proper YouTuber. And that's all I wanted, really. Like I would compare myself to, I would watch people like Crank Gameplays and OG-chan at the time who were doing a similar thing, because obviously I had a Let's Play channel at the time, where they would upload every 2 times a day, and they would slowly grow, and you'd see them kind of develop over the videos. And even though the videos were, my opinions on Let's Play videos of that kind of changed, daily uploads have changed, because now I realize that they don't really stand out on their own as content. They kind of, you just watch them once and then you're done with it. That was all I wanted at the time. I just wanted to be a YouTuber, and that's how I saw being a YouTuber as, and that's what I wanted to do. And I had such a drive for it. Again, quality aside, at the time I was doing what I could. I was editing the best I knew how. I was doing the editing styles which I liked. My commentary was bad and awkward, but it was what I did. It was I would spend half an hour recording, or probably like half an hour, and I would spend a couple hours, 3 hours editing a day, and then I would look at the games and plan the games. I would buy the games I was going to record, and then just for a video. I had no money. I was a kid. I was a teenager, like 13, 14, but I would get the money I had and spend £10 on Bending the Ink Machine Part 2, because that was what I had to make a video on. That's what I wanted to make a video on. That was what was doing well. I had such a drive for it. It's all I wanted. And over the past few years, that has changed slightly. It's changed slightly. It hasn't changed completely. And you can sum it up to a few things. I think one being that when I was doing that kind of consistency in those kind of videos, I was, like I said, around 14, 13, 15. Adulthood seemed so far away. And so I was thinking, obviously I'm not growing very quick at the moment, but if I keep going and I keep trying, then I will grow, and I will get to a point where when I'm at 18 and I need a job, that YouTube will be big enough that I can sustain myself off of it. Obviously that didn't happen, because that was some would say unrealistic expectation, and it wasn't really expectation, it was just a dream and a hope. Doing YouTube the amount of time that I have been doing it, over 8 years, there's not many people who had, you look at the people who have made it. Not many people can say they did it for 8 years and got not really anywhere. See, I'm proud of what I've done, but to say that I have got to any kind of point close to where I wanted to get to by this age would not be true. And so I guess as adulthood approached, as I got into the first year of college, I started to realise, this thought had come into my head a few times, and it's like the thing of don't give up, never give up, which of course I didn't want to do. But then you've also got the reality of life coming up, of I need a job, and this isn't at a point where it can be a job. So I started, think of more realistic career paths for myself, which I'd never done, because I'd always, not that I'd convinced myself that this would happen, but I had always dreamt of it happening. So I'd never really thought of any kind of other career I'd really wanted, other than maybe a regular part-time job for a couple of years until YouTube made it. I started to realise that wasn't the best way to plan things. So now I'm going to university in like a couple weeks, and I'm doing media production, which I was still at college, and I'm gonna try and be an editor or something. I'm gonna try and find a job in doing what I want, but which isn't just the channel. But of course, that doesn't mean that I don't want to do the channel anymore. Over time, my uploads have of course not become consistent. I guess around the time that I started to think about, the reality of stuff, I started to prioritize quality on my channel, which isn't a bad thing. It's a very good thing. I started to prioritize quality, and I started to, make videos that I was proud of. But somewhere along the way, my expectations for myself became too high, and some were just, the editing being extreme, because I felt like I had to show off what I could do as a small channel every chance I got. Other things like needing a certain video to come out before another one, and putting a block in my head to do stuff, and it's just along the way, the fun of YouTube for me, I let get lost. I started making YouTube videos and as a result stopped being a YouTuber, because I couldn't do both at the same time with the time I had and the just the capacity I had. Because even when I had the time, I wouldn't want to do it. And the idea of looking back to me back then when I was uploading every 2 days, seeing the setup I have now, and the size I have now, and the pretty good thing I had going with the second channel for a while, and imagining myself not wanting to take advantage of that and not wanting to do this thing which I've been doing for all these years because I had always told myself that I loved it, is very strange. I want to come back. I know technically I haven't properly left because I've still had videos coming up every few months, but I want to be a YouTuber again. I want that drive back I had. I had such a passion, such a drive for it back then, and of course I probably won't be I can't ever see myself uploading every weekday again because that's just not the content I make now. That's just not feasible. But I want the drive to succeed again. I really want that back, and I'm going to try and get that back. I do miss this. I do miss looking at the live subscriber count website every morning as a child, and I'd wake up just to see what this thing I'd been doing, to see if it was doing well, and like being generally happy when I hit 60 subs and stuff like that. I really want it back. I've a lot of things have changed just over the last year, but I want it back. I don't know if this video would resonate with anyone, if this would make sense to anyone, because I could have came back at any point to upload videos, but I felt like I needed a step back. And while it's probably not going to be out for a long time, I'm not going to touch on it too much here. The Still Inside thing, which I've been kind of talking about in my past few videos, which was kind of a combination of a big YouTube project and a big college project at the same time. Well, I haven't finished that, but I have made quite a lot of it. I think I needed to make that and to put myself into a big project like that, where I could just take my time on it and not rush. I think I needed that to get myself back to where I am now, and I want to come back. Can't say when, can't say how, but all I know is that even though I was unsure of my future on YouTube while I was gone, there was always something in the back of my head telling me that it wasn't over. I have packed it away for uni now, but I brought a Stream Deck. I bought an XL Stream Deck, which is the expensive version. I got this, which I will talk about more soon in another video, probably, hopefully. I brought a better webcam, which I've only used for like one video. Even though I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, I feel like subconsciously I was, which is that I'm not ready to quit yet. I know I'm almost 20, but for the first time in a couple of years, I think, maybe because of the time off, I don't know why this has came back, but for the first time in a couple of years, I can say confidently again that I do want to be a YouTuber. And I'm gonna make that happen.